Eddie, what is it? Is it a pro-Puerto Rican crowd tomorrow night? What do you think?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, look, there's a lot coming from Philly, but I think, Xander, there's a huge Puerto Rican population in New York, and they'll definitely, they always make a lot of noise. We saw that when our other fighter came and dismantled the Puerto Ricans, Dalton Smith, in this very building. And Boots will do the same tomorrow night, there's absolutely no doubt. But listen, Xander's a great fighter, a great champion, a proud man, and it's not going to be easy. But you'll see something very special and a great atmosphere. And maybe you have to do it in the cauldron and in the way, I guess, the away territory, if you like, but that will spur Boots on even more for a great performance.
I think Chris Mannix said up there they had a bit of a debate about Boots' beard. Can you explain what happened there?
You know what, it's really weird that even when we were negotiating the Virgil Ortiz fight, his team talked about the beard as well, and it's like, he's got to cut the beard, we know what he's doing with the beard. It's like, guys, he's really not doing anything with the beard, it's a beard. I don't know if the commission made him trim it, who cares, like, it's not going to make a 1 ounce of difference. So yeah.
Eddie, you've proudly claimed that you're undefeated against Puerto Rican, especially here in New York. How confident are you again tomorrow night?
Listen, I know Boots will win, there's no doubt, but it's just how he does it. But you have to respect Xander. You saw he's a big guy. He's going to rehydrate tomorrow to 170 pounds, 175 pounds and beyond. So Boots is also a big guy. He don't make the weight easy at 154, but it's a lot more comfortable than it was at 47. So he feels phenomenal.
Like, making him spar heavyweights ready.
He's been sparring heavyweights, light heavyweights. He's been knocking them clean out as well. And but listen, sparring. But everyone knows. You speak to anybody in the game, everybody knows how good Jaron is. But he's got to show it. And you can talk about how good a guy is, they've still got to go out and perform against a very good fighter. So I'm not saying it's just going to be a stroll in the park, but don't be surprised if it is.
He's been pressed all week about Crawford, he's been pretty sort of dismissive of it, but do you think if he knocks him out tomorrow night, it'll be a big enough lure for Crawford?
You know what, it's very difficult to call out a retired fighter. But Boots isn't really that guy either. But if he stood in the middle of the ring tomorrow night after producing a performance for the ages and says, Crawford, come out of retirement and make the biggest fight in the sport, I think it would break the internet. But I feel like Crawford's retired, but we got to focus on the division, the championships, and the fighters that are active.
We've seen obviously that Usyk has vacated earlier. Does that mean that now AJ Fury will be for a belt?
I doubt it. No, I mean, they're not in line for it to be for a belt. Maybe. We'll see what happens after their fights, but I think it was an interesting move from Usyk. I haven't read the full stuff, but he's saying he's just going to have one more fight. Is that right? I presume that'll be the Rico rematch. I don't know, but obviously, rather than kind of have all these mandatories, I think he's got the Caballero decision. I think he's probably just thought, you know what, guys, go and fight for the championships, which I think is exciting. I think it's obviously going to throw up a lot of new heavyweight world champions, and I think that'll be a great era for the sport. Those guys unifying against each other and seeing what's going to spit out in terms of champions.
If you were managing Usyk, what fight would you want him to have?
Rico rematch in Amsterdam, unquestionable. Right?
Joshua will now be in the mix for a heavyweight title opportunity, right?
Well, I mean, unfortunately, and not unfortunately, but because we've signed an agreement to be in fights with Prenger and Fury, we can't put ourselves forward in those fights. I think there may have been an opportunity to fight Frank Sanchez, but obviously we're fighting on July 25th and we're fighting Tyson Fury, so we can't be available for that. But we want to win those fights in 2027. Josh wants to fight for the World Heavyweight Championship, so this will free everything up to do that.
You've written some big checks about Boots Ennis up on stage.
Yeah.
What's motivated you to do so?
Well, because I've known for nearly a decade how good he is, and for 5 years before we signed him, I was trying to sign him. Lance, there's no one in the sport that goes, he's not as good as people say, he's overrated. They know how good he is, but you've still got to do it, right? And Xander Zayas is a very good fighter. He's a fearless fighter, he's a tough fighter, he's a big 154 pounder. It might be easy, but it might not. But I just think you're going to see, all week, I've just been seeing a smile on his face, as if to say, I finally get to show the world how great I am. But he'll have to do it in a lot of noise, with a lot of Puerto Rican. I mean, it's going to be wild in there tomorrow night. So I'm really excited. It's a great fight, a great card actually. And I believe you're going to see Boots put a performance that will make you guys just say he's the future star of the sport.
Eddie, it's evident that you have supreme confidence in Boots, your fighter, man. And as you know, this is the best versus the best type of fight. pressure either breaks or makes fighters. What gives you the supreme confidence that Boots is going to rise to the occasion come tomorrow night?
Because I know he's special, and that's what special fighters do. Don't get me wrong, you know, you can have all the ability in the world, and then in a moment with 10,000, 12,000 Puerto Ricans and, you know, the pressure, sometimes you can't produce the performance. I don't think Boots is that guy. I think he's the opposite. I think this is exactly where he produces those kind of performances, but you've still got to do it, and you've got to do it against a very good champion in Xander Zayas. And I don't mean to be disrespectful when I talk about what Boots is about to do, because I rate Zayas, I respect him, I think what he's doing is admirable, but I also know that Top Rank know as well this is not good matchmaking, but you have to respect it, and it's making the sport great.
Eddie, Bob Arum said yesterday that if the fight lands in the US, AJ Fury, he has some sort of contract to promote Fury in the US. One, were you aware of that? And two, would you prefer him to do it over Zuffa if the contract changes and, you know, that happens?
Well, this is getting boring now. It's like, I just, you know, we don't even know where the fight's taking place. We've not even had any requests to change. The fight's taking place in England. Unless we have a conversation where we renegotiate the contract. That's all I can tell you. And, you know, obviously if it happens in America, I'm not aware of Bob's contract with Tyson Fury. If that does, I don't know, maybe he's got some contractual right to take a few quid off Tyson Fury. Does that complicate? I don't know, it's all a mess. But, you know, we've been asked to come and have a meeting on next week. Those peace talks, as they say. And we'll respect that. I'll attend them, and I'll see how I feel.
Did you see John Fury calling out Carl Froch the other week? What did you think of that?
I don't know. You're about to witness one of the greatest fights in boxing tomorrow night, so we'll leave the Carl Froch John Fury for another time.
Eddie, what are the chances that Dana White does actually be the promoter of Tyson Fury Joshua? I mean, I know it's in the contract now, it's not the case, but you also keep saying in the contract now it's supposed to be England, and it might not be.
As I keep saying, the only way Dana White can be involved in the fight is if I let him. I mean, I don't know what else to say. So, you know, I'll see how I feel, eh?
Right.
You know?
Matt, looking at, you know, Johnny Fisher signed with Zuffa. I know you fell out of the chair, you know, just kind of jokingly or whatever. But what were your thoughts on when you heard that?
It's brilliant for Johnny. You know, he's obviously, he got beat by Dave Allen, and, you know, he's a popular guy. But as I said, like tomorrow night, you see what we're about and where we want to go with our fighters. And if you get an opportunity for, like I said, nearly 7 times the money to fight, honestly, you'll see the opponent. I could, maybe it's a 50-50 with me, right? So that's how bad it is, and I can't put that on TV. But when you're new into the game, obviously the quality's different. You're learning, you're trying to attract fighters, so you have to do things like that. But you know, if you're going to start overpaying 7 times the market price for a Johnny Fisher, you're going to go out of business real quick, especially when Turkey withdraws his money.